Marcus Wellington III had always believed that money could buy him anything: respect, admiration, and most importantly, the right to look down on others. His penthouse apartment overlooking the city skyline was a testament to his wealth, filled with expensive art, designer furniture, and the kind of opulence that screamed privilege. But what Marcus valued most were his exclusive dinner parties, where the city's elite gathered to network, gossip, and reinforce their sense of superiority. It was during one such planning session for his annual charity gala that Marcus made what he thought was the joke of the century. His assistant, Jennifer, was reading through the guest list when she mentioned they needed one more person to even out the seating arrangement. What about inviting someone different? Marcus chuckled, swirling his brandy. Someone who would really shake things up. His friends Richard Blackstone, the oil heir, and Patricia Van Morrison. The socialite looked at him with curiosity. "I've got it." Marcus slapped his knee, nearly spilling his drink. "What if we invited my cleaning lady?" Imagine the looks on everyone's faces when Dolores Washington walks into the Ritz-Carlton ballroom. The room erupted in laughter. Richard nearly choked on his caviar, while Patricia clutched her pearls dramatically. "Oh, Marcus, you're terrible," she gasped between giggles. "That poor woman wouldn't know which fork to use." "Exactly." Marcus wiped tears from his eyes. "It'll be hilarious. She'll be so out of place, so overwhelmed. It'll be the entertainment of the evening." And so, in a moment of cruel amusement, Marcus Wellington III personally delivered an invitation to Dolores Washington, the woman who had been cleaning his penthouse twice a week for the past 3 years. He found her in his kitchen, scrubbing the marble countertops with the same meticulous attention she gave to everything. "Dolores," he said, trying to contain his smirk, "I have something special for you." Dolores looked up, her dark eyes cautious. At 52, she was a woman who had learned to read people quickly. Years of working for the wealthy had taught her to recognize condescension, even when it wore a smile. "Yes, Mr. Wellington." He handed her the elegant invitation, printed on cream-colored cardstock with gold lettering. "I'd like you to be my guest at this Saturday's charity gala. It's a formal affair at the Ritz-Carlton." Dolores took the invitation, her calloused hands gentle with the expensive paper. She read it slowly, her expression unreadable. "This is very kind, Mr. Wellington. May I ask why?" Marcus's smile widened. "Let's just say I think you deserve a night out. You work so hard." What Marcus didn't know, what none of his privileged circle knew, was that Dolores Washington had once been somebody entirely different, before she was a cleaning lady. Before life had humbled her in ways that shaped her character, she had been Dolores Beaumont, daughter of one of New Orleans' most prominent families. She had attended finishing school, summered in the Hamptons, and moved through high society with the grace of someone born to it. But that was before her father's business collapsed, before the family lost everything, before she found herself starting over in a new city with nothing but her dignity and determination. She had taken the cleaning job not out of desperation, but as a way to rebuild her life on her own terms, away from the judgment and pity of those who had once been her peers. When Saturday evening arrived, Marcus and his friends gathered at the Ritz-Carlton, already anticipating their entertainment. The ballroom was magnificent. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across tables, adorned with white orchids and gold accents. The city's elite mingled in their designer gowns and tailored tuxedos, champagne glasses catching the light as they gestured dramatically through their conversations. "Where is she?" Patricia whispered to Marcus, scanning the room. "Your cleaning lady?" "Probably too intimidated to show up," Richard chuckled. "Can you imagine? She probably took one look at this place and ran home." Marcus was beginning to think the same thing when a murmur swept through the crowd near the entrance. Conversations paused mid-sentence, and heads turned toward the ballroom's grand doors. And then she appeared. Dolores Washington entered the Ritz-Carlton ballroom like she owned it. She wore a stunning midnight blue gown that hugged her curves perfectly, its subtle beading catching the light with every movement. Her natural hair was styled in an elegant updo that framed her face beautifully, and her makeup was flawless, sophisticated, and striking without being overdone. Diamond earrings that had been her grandmother's caught the chandelier light, and she carried herself with a poise that commanded attention. But it wasn't just her appearance that stunned the room into silence, it was her presence. Dolores moved through the crowd with the confidence of someone who belonged, greeting people with warm smiles and engaging in conversations that revealed an intellect and sophistication that left people genuinely impressed. Marcus felt his jaw drop. This couldn't be the same woman he'd seen scrubbing his floors. This woman was magnificent. "Marcus," Patricia whispered urgently, "who is that woman? She's absolutely radiant." Before he could answer, Dolores approached their group. Her smile was genuine but knowing, and Marcus suddenly felt very small. "Good evening, Mr. Wellington," she said, her voice carrying a slight southern lilt that sounded elegant rather than out of place. "Thank you for the invitation. This is quite a lovely event." "Dolores," he stammered. You look different," she laughed, a sound like silver bells. "I should hope so. I'd hardly wear my cleaning clothes to the Ritz-Carlton." Richard stepped forward, clearly charmed. "I don't believe we've been introduced." "Richard Blackstone." "Dolores Washington," she replied, accepting his offered hand with grace. "And you must be Patricia Van Morrison," she continued, turning to the stunned socialite. "I've heard so much about your charity work with the Children's Hospital." Patricia blinked in surprise. "You know my work, of course. I make it my business to know about the people who are making a real difference in this city." Dolores's smile was warm but pointed. "Your fundraising efforts have been remarkable." As the evening progressed, Marcus watched in growing amazement and horror as Dolores became the center of attention. She spoke knowledgeably about art with the museum director, discussed investment strategies with the bank presidents, and charmed the mayor's wife with stories about New Orleans culture. She knew which wine paired with which course, handled every piece of silverware with natural elegance, and danced with a grace that left her partners speechless. "Where did you learn to dance like that?" asked Jonathan Pierce, the city's most eligible bachelor, as he spun her around the dance floor. "New Orleans," she replied with a mysterious smile. "We take our dancing seriously there." But it was during the charity auction that Dolores truly shocked everyone. When a rare first edition book was up for bidding, she raised her paddle with quiet confidence. $5,000, she said calmly. The auctioneer, surprised, acknowledged her bid. The book's value was well known among the collectors present, but $5,000 was already a generous starting point. "Do I hear 6,000? Marcus found himself bidding against her, partly out of competitive instinct and partly out of confusion. How could his cleaning lady afford to bid on expensive items? 10,000, Dolores said without hesitation. The room fell silent. Marcus lowered his paddle, suddenly aware that everyone was watching this unexpected drama unfold. "Sold to the lady in blue." Later, as people began to leave, Patricia cornered Marcus in the men's lounge. "Who is she really?" she demanded. "That woman is no ordinary cleaning lady." Marcus shook his head, still reeling. "I don't understand it either." When he approached Dolores near the end of the evening, she was saying goodbye to the mayor, who was laughing at something she'd said and pressing his business card into her hand. "Dolores," Marcus began hesitantly, "I have to ask, tonight, you were incredible. I had no idea you could what?" She interrupted gently. "Could fit into your world? Could hold my own among your friends?" He flushed, realizing how his words sounded. "I just meant, you meant that you invited me as a joke," she said quietly. "But without anger, you thought I'd embarrass myself, provide entertainment for you and your friends." Marcus couldn't deny it. "How did you know?" "Because I've been on both sides of this world, Mr. Wellington. I know what it looks like when someone is invited to be laughed at rather than celebrated." She gathered her small clutch purse, preparing to leave. "You want to know who I really am? I'm someone who learned that true class isn't about money or breeding. It's about how you treat others, especially those you think are beneath you." "But the auction, how could you afford?" "I've been saving for years," she said simply. "That book was written by a friend of my great-grandfather's. It belongs in my family." As she turned to go, Marcus caught her arm gently. "Dolores, I owe you an apology, a huge one. I was cruel and small-minded. You showed more grace tonight than I've ever shown in my life." She studied his face for a moment, then smiled. "We all have the capacity to be better than we are, Mr. Wellington." The question is whether we choose to grow or stay the same, would you? Would you consider having dinner with me sometime? Not as my employee, but as someone I'd genuinely like to know better. Dolores's smile was kind, but firm.